Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
Hey everyone, welcome to the stream here. This is my first live stream that I'm doing in a long time, so if things are weird and you guys can't hear me or anything, let me know, especially because this is the first time I'm using this platform here for the first time. So we got some exciting stuff today. And actually, let me turn off this volume over here. So we got some exciting stuff to talk about here today. I got the Arcade1up 32-inch here in front of me. You got that one over here. This is the 32-inch right here. And then I got my regular 24-inch. There is some differences on both of these that we're going to be getting into. There's even a couple of differences on the actual design. They changed it a little bit compared to the 24-inch. It's slightly different. And we're going to get into my first impressions. I just got this today. So we'll get into my first impressions on what I actually think. And then if there's any questions that people are having in the chat, of course, I'll answer any questions that anybody has. For those of you guys who don't know, I've been working with Arcade1up on this Infinity game table. I've had the 24-inch, before it came out, and I've been beta testing their games and stuff, and been helping them bug test them and try to get them as best as they can be, basically. And the 32-inch is the model that I actually ordered, just like the rest of you guys on Kickstarter. So that's the one that came in today, and then the 24-inch was provided by Arcade1up for review and testing all the games and stuff. So I'm all in with this one just as much as you guys. That 32-inch was purchased, all by myself on Kickstarter. So there's some good stuff to get into here. So let's start off with the actual table itself. Let's go ahead and bring in the table here to the stream. And of course, like I said, we are going to do some Simon gameplay as well. So Simon is a game that's going to be coming to the Infinity game table and hopefully in a couple of weeks. It is supposed to be this month, and we're going to be doing some first hands-on gameplay of Simon on here, so to show you guys how the game actually plays, what multiplayer features are actually involved in it, and how the game actually runs. And then I'll leave you guys with a teaser at the end of the video of another game that should hopefully be making it out this month as well, that Arcade1up told me that they're hoping to get out this month as well. So I'll leave you guys with a teaser at the end of the video on what you guys can expect for that one. So let's go ahead and first start off with comparing both of these tables here and me talking a little bit about what I think about both of these. So as I said before, the 32-inch is the one on the left here that has Simon on it, and then my regular 24-inch. So if I grab the camera here for a minute just to show you guys both of them side by side, you can see here that is kind of the view. You can see that they're very similar in size as far as the dimensions. But you can see the drastic difference, of course, in the actual real estate of the actual screen. And guys, when I first got this one here, I was really, when I had the 24-inch, I never thought and said, oh, like the 24-inch is, not big enough. That's not something I ever thought of. But as soon as I got both of these in my hands, then it became a different story. Now I kind of want to play the 32-inch at all times because, obviously it's a bigger screen. And just the actual look of it. I mean, if you see how much space is in between here with the black glossiness that's all around the table, which we know is a crazy fingerprint magnet. If you see how much space is in there and how the screen is there in the middle, and then you come over to the 32-inch, you can see how big of a difference it is. And this looks like a much cleaner design, only because of the fact that I think the bezels around the screen are kind of like the perfect size compared to the 24-inch. So I'm really liking the size in the 32-inch. I mean, everyone, I'm sure that's not a surprise to anyone on how much, the 32-inch is obviously going to be nicer because the screen is bigger. So it's probably not a surprise to most people. But another key difference in here as well, if I show you guys around the table here, if you look at both tables like this, I don't know how hard, you should be able to tell here on camera. So you can see on the 24-inch table, they actually have like a plastic protector that is kind of on there that you can't really pull off, and actually is screwed down all along the sides of the whole entire table. It's like a protector on top of it, as you can see. On the 32-inch model, they actually have a different design. So you can see that it's just bare plastic here along the whole entire thing. There is no other plastic thing that sits on top of it. It's just the actual screen with like a indentation all around it. So there's no protective piece on the side as compared to the 24-inch. I wonder why they made that change. I know it has something to do with the 32-inch because I know they talked about delaying the 32-inch because they had to do some molding changes last minute, which I'm sure is probably what we're looking at here, that it's slightly different than how they went with the 24-inch model with how that was done. So I'm sure that's part of the reason of what they were talking about. So that's definitely one of the biggest differences. And what's interesting too, let me just set this camera back down here for a second. Hey, Dennis, thanks for joining. And yeah, appreciate the comments here. And what's interesting about this is when I first received it, I know a lot of people were talking about it before, that the 32-inch model was something that a lot of people were getting, and they were saying it was heavy to bring and carry around. And in my head, I was like, is it really going to be that much heavier? Because when I got the 24-inch here, I actually brought it to my family's house for the first time this past weekend, or 2 weekends ago, I should say. And we were playing it, and I brought it. I took the legs off, of course. I brought it into the car, and it was heavy, obviously. It's not light, but it was definitely doable, and it wasn't a struggle to like grab the screen and put it in the trunk or anything. I wasn't struggling with holding it or anything. And then I got the 32-inch in today, and I kind of see exactly what everyone's talking about when they're talking about that 32-inch, because the 32-inch is definitely a different beast here. You know, as far as how much you can, like how much it actually weighs. It's only supposed to be around 10 pounds heavier, but for whatever reason, you could really feel that weight for sure. Like it's definitely easier to carry the 24-inch into your car or you know, portably to other people's houses than it will be that 32-inch for sure. I mean, there's no way around that. But having said that, I don't think that should deter you guys in any way or the other. Like, oh, should I get the 32-inch because it's more portable, or the 24-inch? The 32-inch can still be carried around. It's just heavier and bigger, so it's not as easy. But, you know, it shouldn't deter you. I mean, if money is no object, then, you know, get the 32-inch if money's no object, because it's really, really awesome having a bigger screen size than, you know, this one on the right here, which is the 24-inch. But obviously, there is a price difference on both. Hey, Austin, what's up? Good, thanks for joining here. And so let me show you guys, before we get into some Simon gameplay, I'm going to show you guys a comparison of two games kind of sitting on both, so you can kind of see, you know, how they compare and how they look on both of these here. So if I exit out of Simon here, and just let you guys know, if you guys see anything on this table as I get onto the screen here, that actually, let me remove it just to be safe, because there is some stuff on here that you know, is still being tested, and there's actually some games on here that haven't even been revealed yet. So let's not show those for the time being. But let me at least give you an idea of what Monopoly here looks like on both tables, so you can get an idea of, you know, how the scale basically goes between both. Because a lot of people are always wondering, hey, Kongs, thanks for joining. And Kongs are us in the chat here. And let me lower the volume on this thing. All right, so we got Monopoly on both of these here. Let's go ahead and switch these around real quick. Screw the NDA, shows the goodies. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the live stream here, but I am going to be teasing another game that's supposed to come out this month. Hopefully it's supposed to come out this month. This hasn't been officially confirmed, but I can tease that one at the very least, that it's not just Simon, hopefully, that they're going to get out. But here is the comparison. So let's go ahead and click play here on both of these. Let's just drag some pieces so we can just see the board on both. So I don't know how much this is obviously showing in the video there, but you can see on the 32-inch, the board almost feels like you're playing on a real Monopoly board, if that makes sense. Like if you carry out your Monopoly board I wish I actually had one to just put on top of the table for you guys. But the only version of Monopoly that I actually own is Monopoly Gamer, because I'm not. I was never actually a fan of Monopoly, to be honest. But until I started playing the digital version on here, which made me a little bit more of a fan of it. So I don't actually own a copy of it. But you can tell from here and here that this one is definitely obviously a smaller version of it. And you can tell you're playing a digital version of Monopoly here, where this one feels more like, hey, I'm playing, you know, it almost feels like a real size Monopoly game. So it's an interesting take on both of these, on how they actually look. Like I said, when I had the 24-inch, I never thought in my head like, oh, like this isn't big enough. You know, I wish it was bigger because the board just isn't big enough. But now, stacking these side by side, you can see how much bigger those screens are there, and how much more real estate it takes up. And it just makes the games more fun, because now, you know, the Monopoly board just looks like you would want it to look like. It looks like a bigger version of Monopoly there. So let's go ahead and go back to the menu of both of these. I have to switch this NDA stuff off again. Yeah, the side-by-side difference is definitely huge for sure. I didn't even think it was going to be that big of a difference, to be honest, because everyone was talking about how big it was, and didn't actually notice you know, how big that was going to be. So interesting. And I'm actually going to bite on this comment here, because not because you know, people, obviously everybody can have whatever opinion they want. It doesn't really matter regardless. But I'm going to address it because I've seen actual people like wondering, hey, why don't I just buy, instead of a big screen tablet like this, why wouldn't I just buy an iPad and play digital board games on it? And yes, these are really expensive, but unless if you knew how to build these from the ground up yourself, and obviously you can build a 32-inch touchscreen if you want to go that route and kind of put an Android OS on it and play Android-based games on it, but you're not going to get the experience of what this table is offering. Even if you went the route of building a 32-inch screen yourself and you put Android on it, you're going to be stuck with pass and play games. So you're going to have friends over, you're going to have a nice gigantic 32-inch screen, and when you want to play games like Monopoly, even if they exist on the Android store, 90% of those games are existing, you know, to do pass and play with people. The idea of this, and what makes this unique and stand out, is that, as you can see here, everyone kind of has a corner of the board. So there's a person sitting over here, there's a person sitting over there. That way, everyone has their own section of the board, and they can play, and you're kind of playing around the table, around the digital board game table. So it's really interesting. And of course, the board will actually rotate if somebody else is on the other side, and kind of do things like that a digital version would actually be able to do. So it's more than just a giant iPad, obviously. I mean, is it worth your money? That's obviously up to everyone to decide if it's worth. Obviously, it's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. Obviously, this is an expensive thing, and it's not going to be for everyone. That's obvious. But I think they are hitting a chord of what they're trying to do here, and I think it's not just another iPad, because I have an iPad. I have the 13-inch iPad upstairs, and there's no shot that I would ever bring an iPad, you know, downstairs with a group of like 4 friends and be like, hey, let's get around the table and play on my iPad, pass and play. That's just not fun. But putting this on 2 legs and having a 32-inch screen, or even the 24-inch one, and being able to play party games and stuff like that, I would definitely bring that for sure. But obviously, you know, price is going to be the biggest thing. This thing is not cheap, but I also don't think there's anything else like it, because, like I said, for the you know, you can build your own, but you're not going to get the games that, you know, don't do pass and play, that are actually working around the table with other friends that, you know, this table is trying to promote and do. So, and that's kind of what sells me. Like, I'm not usually going to play single player games on this by myself. I'm going to bring this out when there's a party here and stuff like that. So, let's see. And also keep in mind, this is we're only at the beginning here, and I can't shell out everything that they're going to do, obviously, here in today's video, but they are looking at doing other things. So this is not like the end of the road. Hopefully it's as popular, you know, for them to continue doing this for years to come. But, you know, they're obviously not just doing more games. They're adding features to the table. You know, they might expand online play a little with some more extra stuff down the road. So this is a living, breathing product that I hope, you know, they expand, you know, for a really long time. Because me personally, as a board game fan, and having people over and having a lot of fun with people. It's really exciting stuff for me, at least, of what this table can do. So let's go ahead and go back to the main screen here. There's a little quick look on some of the games that you probably haven't seen before, but I'll get that off the screen. But yeah, I can't open any of the games up that aren't obviously announced yet, but you probably just got a quick glimpse of some of the games there that may have not been released yet. But Simon is the one that we're going to be looking at today. That is the one that I'm actually allowed to show you. I don't know why I took the camera off stream like it mattered. And yeah, absolutely. You can definitely, like, you know, as somebody who has 250 board games sitting next to me, over 250 board games here on the left of me, you know, it's a hard choice because obviously, yes, you can either spend $600 to $800 of what this table is going to cost and get only their games right now, which is currently only you know, some the titles that we all know are on there currently, or you can grab that $600 and go buy a bunch of board games. So obviously, but the differentiating factor for me is a couple of things. Online play is cool because that's something that you can do with other people who have this table, you know, across the country, across, you know, the state and stuff. So there's that. But also, like I mentioned earlier, I have not only a lot of parties here, but I also have a lot of party at my family's house. And when I go to my family's house, I usually am the one who brings the board games. So I usually have a gigantic bag that I bring like 5 to 10 games with me because we like to play a lot of variety and stuff. And when I play those board games, I have to bring those myself. If this becomes popular enough, granted, right now we're at the very early stages. Right now, most of these games are Hasbro titles and stuff like that. So I'm not going to say it's replacing anything like this so far, but I could imagine a day where when they keep releasing things like Ticket to Ride and Pandemic, more of the games that I like to play with my family and stuff, that I can just bring this table with me and not have to bring 5 or 10 board games with me to my family's house, and we can all play on this digital table. And of course, there's also the benefiting factor of the fact that they can do cool things with the digital table that you can't do with pieces. So there's a lot left to be explored here for sure. It's true. You can't rage toss the game. We're definitely missing the throw the table, which is actually pretty funny. All right, so let's get into some Simon gameplay so you guys can take a look. So you can see, and this one here, and I don't know how many of you guys know this, they don't do online play for every single game here. Some of the games have it and some of them don't. As you can see here at the main menu, there is no online play for it. There's multiplayer, but not online. So multiplayer, I'll show off here in a minute, which is a cool thing that they added because I've been testing this game for a while, and multiplayer 4-player was not on here before. It used to just be a single-player game, so this game has definitely seen improvements over the last few months that I've been playing it and seen it since the very start. So let's go ahead and get into Simon Says here. And this is obviously what you guys expect with Simon Says. I'm probably going to be showing off how terrible my skills are all over again, just like I did on Cons R Us channel yesterday, and got killed there in Battleship. But you can choose your difficulty level here, 1, 2, 3, 4, infinite. And you kind of just choose your level there. And let's go ahead and turn off this Monopoly noise that's sitting here in the background that I kind of forgot about. I actually just realized that I probably lost because I wasn't looking at that Simon screen. So let's go ahead and hit that play button again. And let's actually raise the volume a little bit now that we're playing this one here, so you guys can get a feel for how this actually plays here. All right, so difficulty 1. Here we go. All right, so we know what Simon is like. You see the things on the side. That's how many seconds you have to actually hit it before you get buzzed out. I don't know how far I'm going to make it here. I'll be quite honest with you guys. Especially trying to do this while also talking on a live stream. Let's see. Hey, we got to level up though. Gonna mess this up soon. All right. There we go. I'll take it. Hey, let's go. So each one you have to get through a different amount of sequences, as you guys just saw. So that one was 8. That's the easy level. That's 1, 2, 3, or 4 infinite. So infinite, obviously, you can keep going until you actually forget. And what I really like about this one, which they should do this more for some of the other games, because a lot of these other games don't have this, and that's a local leaderboard. So you can actually keep track of the scores, which I really like. So if I put my little initial here real quick. You could submit your score, and then you can see the leaderboard there. It tells you the day that you got it. So I really like that feature, and I think they need to include this. And I'm going to tell them too as well, but hopefully other people like the same thing, and they could tell them on their Facebook group as well. Is that I really, really do like that. And yes, you can feel the tactical buttons when you're pressing it. The haptic feedback on the bottom as you're pressing it does rumble the table a little bit. So there is that too. So really cool. I like that. But what really surprised me in this game, especially because, like I said, I've been playing it, for a while when this game actually came out, and multiplayer was not part of this at all. It was just a single player game. It was just what you just saw is what the game basically was like. And now you can actually do 4-player multiplayer. So really, really cool. So basically what happens is when you click multiplayer, it's obviously local. You can see all the discs around the table. So everyone picks a side. And if I pick both of actually, I should probably pick the ones closest to me. That would make the most sense. So what you're doing when you pick these is you're actually picking the color that you're going to be when they show up. So in other words, like the player over here is going to be controlling the blue Simon. The player over there is going to be controlling the red Simon, and so on and so forth. So in a 2-player game, you're not going to see the green or the yellow light up. So you're only going to see the blue and the red light up. And basically what you're doing is you're competing against each other of being the last person standing. So what's going to happen is, as an example, it's going to flash what color you need to use. So red. So this person over here needs to hit red, the person who's playing on that side. Now this person hits red, and this person over here would hit blue. And what happens is if the person misses, like for example, if this person went and accidentally hit, like didn't hit theirs or messed up their color, and this person didn't go because you forgot what order you went in or whatever, this blue person is now out. So it will tell you the longest sequence, and it will tell you who the actual winner is. So the other person on the other side basically won. So if you see that from the opposite side, so let's do this with 4 people. I'm not going to be able to control all 4 very well, but get an idea of what I'm talking about here. So now you can see all 4 colors are actually in the game here. And you're going to go in order, not in order, but around the table. So the green person over there would be hitting green. So they're the only ones playing right now over there. If they were in the corner, they would be hitting that twice. If they miss their sequence and they don't hit it, then they're immediately out. So for example, when the next one starts, I'll miss the sequence here. So let's say, for example, the green person's supposed to hit their green before the red person hits it, right? Well, the green person just lost it and kind of ruined it and lost their sequence. So that's basically what you're doing. You're going back and forth and you're trying to be the person to survive and not be the one to get out. And you can see they have all of these rules here. of how all of them play. So you can see that there's multiplayer here on how to win, to be the last person in the game. 4-player game, the person is the one with the longest sequence, like we said. And what's cool about this game too is they actually have styles. So you can see here that you can change the style of the assignments. So right now we have the classic one on, but you actually, I unlocked, I forget which one I unlocked, but when I was testing this out earlier, I actually unlocked one of the colors. So something else that they added recently as well is that you can unlock colors as you're playing and level up. You unlock more colors that you can actually play with, so the assignment thing kind of changes there, which is interesting. And the create mode, the only thing the create mode does is that you can actually create your own, so that he'll start off with one, and then you're trying to create another. So you're basically going in sequence, and you don't wait. You kind of just like create your own, and then eventually see how long you can last. So I created this just now. So you're basically creating your own sequence, and then if you lose, then you're out, and it tells you how many sequences you got. But create your own is kind of like creating your own sequence as you're playing. Let's see. All right, so let's go back to the main home screen here. Unfortunately, got to remove this view again. So I don't show everything that's sitting on this table that hasn't been even. Some of these things that I got the other day haven't even been announced or talked about, at least not by name, on their Kickstarter yet. You know, because if it was just a tile, if I was just showing you the tile of a game that was announced on Kickstarter, I wouldn't care, because we all know what games are coming because they're on Kickstarter. But there's some games on here that have released that weren't even announced on the Kickstarter. So let's see. I would assume, though I don't know. Obviously, this isn't something that they've told me. This is just me guessing, but I would assume that the reason they went with a rectangular is just because there is a lot of games that do 6 players and stuff, and having a square table wouldn't give a lot of room for things like that. Like, for example, let me see if I can show you another game that has 6 players here that would kind of ideally make that up. Now, obviously, some games, you're right. Some games it makes more sense to do what you're saying, but other games, you know, fit the style of having this rectangular shape because of the fact that you can comfortably fit 6 people around the table, because everyone can kind of take a corner. The idea is that one person's sitting over here, one person in the middle, one person on that corner, one person on the other, one person on the other. So that's one of the reasons. And then also, for sure, like Kongs or Us said, 16:9 screens are way more available than square ones. No one out there is ordering square size TVs, and we all know the shortages that are going on right now. So the shortages are already insane, hence why the Arcade1up stuff is already going up as is, along with a lot of other technology out there. So I'm sure that plays a factor into it as well. I mean, I don't like just the fact that this is a touchscreen. I mean, how many touchscreens do you? I don't know if there's another product out there readily available right now that serves as a 32-inch touchscreen. I don't, unless if someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there is any right now that you can currently compare it to. But anyway, let me show you what I'm talking about here real quick with Scrabble, so you can get an idea on how this actually plays here. So let me bring up the view again. So here's Scrabble here again. And obviously you can hit play, right? And everyone gets to, and this is only a 4-player game, but it still gives the idea. I just realized. I thought it was a 6-player game, but still gives the same impression. Lower this volume a bit. This thing gets loud. But yeah, the idea is that they wanted it to be a rectangular shape because you could fit more people. Imagine like everyone having, you know, a corner on different spots here, like I'm doing here, and imagine having 6 players all over the place. And now when you're playing a game, you know, that takes 4 to 6 players like this, you know, now you have extra room. If it was just a square, you wouldn't be able to do 6 players. It just wouldn't be that fun because then you don't have their side. So you can see here that this makes sense, and everyone has like their own area on each side. And like I said, when there's 6, then everyone kind of takes one part here, one part here, one part there. So it kind of evens it out and does it nicely. And to be honest, the screen looks really good. I think there was somebody that I was listening to. Oh, I almost went back to the home screen and showed another part of this. The thing that's really interesting too, that somebody else was talking about, and I don't know if anyone else feels this way or not, but somebody in the Facebook group, when they got their 32-inch, and I was nervous about it, because I was nervous about this too, as somebody who has a 24-inch table and was getting the 32-inch, they were saying that it was not high enough resolution. And the guy was saying that, you know, when he got the 32-inch, he didn't think that the resolution was high enough and stuff like that, which I was nervous about, because the 24-inch looked good to me. It's a 1080p screen, so I knew what to expect, and I think it looks really, really good. And when I got the 32-inch, I was like, oh, I hope it's not like all of a sudden all blurry because the icons don't look good, or the images don't look good, or the board games don't look good, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to have to say that I disagree with that person completely. For anybody who wants to know, I think the 1080p screen on here looks really good. I mean, obviously, you're not going to compare this to a 4K screen for obvious reasons, but it looks really good. I don't think anyone's going to be playing this and think, oh, like I'm playing Monopoly or Connect 4 or whatever the case may be, and think, oh, this isn't high quality enough. This isn't good enough. You know, that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know how anybody can look at that and think that, in my opinion. I think it looks really good. As far as the quality of the graphics and the quality of the screen, I think it's solid. And also, I mean, no, I don't think anybody would have expected a 4K touchscreen, 32 inches. Like, if you thought this was expensive, put a 4K screen on this thing and make it touchscreen and see how much more expensive it gets. And yeah, no, this is, I don't think there needs to be a higher resolution. I think this looks really good. Of course, it would look better if it was higher. It would cost more money, but I don't think anybody would be complaining about that regardless. And yeah, the 6-player stuff, there's a lot of 6-player games out there that are really, really fun. I'm hoping that they bring some over to this. You know, I've told them about it, gathered community feedback from their Facebook group and brought them games that people wanted to see. So I've done some of those as well. Trying to think, like, you know, there's party games like Cards Against Humanity and Apples to Apples that we probably all know that you can easily play on this table and just have them make that version and put them on here, which would be fun. Or there's, you know, the Game of Life is 6 players, for example. So that one works really well on here. Let's see what else, if there's any. Trivia Pursuit is 6 players on here. That just recently came out. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of 6-player games I could see going on here. I see my collection over here. I have all my 6 and up games over here. You know, there's Werewolf, stuff like that. There's One Night Revolution. Tags is really popular out there. Secret Hitler is really, really good. Or even if it's not Secret Hitler, we can do the Resistance. So, yeah, there's a lot of 6-player games out there, and 6 to 8. I mean, obviously the most common number is 4 to 8, or sorry, 4 to 6, but definitely get some good board games out of 7, 8, 9 players, depending on what kind of game it is. So, but yeah, that is the comparison of both of these tables. So obviously I will have a full review. I've only had this for a couple of hours here, so I haven't had a chance to explore this. With my wife hasn't been home yet, so I haven't been able to play anything on this table yet besides just testing things on myself and playing some of the games that have AI, and she hasn't seen it yet, so I'll get her thoughts on it too. But my first initial impressions, I'll have my review up on Monday. But for my first initial impressions, like I said, when I had the 24-inch right next to it here, I would have never thought that I would have cared to have a bigger version of it. But now that I see them both side by side, and now I see them, now I look at this one and I'm like, oh no, I'm not using that anymore. It's kind of the same thing as everything. You don't realize it until you have something bigger or better, and then you realize, like, oh, I don't want to use the old one again. So that's my initial thoughts on this so far, is that the 32-inch size is, I think, the perfect size for something of this. I think 32 inches should be their standard, in my opinion. Obviously, again, they went to the 24-inch because it was going to be cheaper to make. I understand that. And obviously, not everyone's going to want to pay the 32-inch price tag. I think it's $200 more than the 24-inch. So obviously, that makes sense. But if money's no object and you're just trying to decide which one you want, I think the 32-inch one is the one that you definitely should go for. And there's still enough bezel there. If you really do want to put a drink on the side, you can. Obviously, there's more on this one, but I think there's a gigantic large portion of bezels on here now compared to that one. That one just has a more sleeker design and a sleeker look just because of the way the screen is put in there. And I think it's now looking at it the perfect size. And I never had a 32-inch touchscreen of anything because, like I said, this isn't something that common that comes out there. Like the biggest touchscreens I have are a 24-inch for this. I have a couple of 24-inch board game tables that I still have to do a review on from another company that we'll get into on a different day. And I'll even do a comparison video if you guys want to see that with Arcade1up and them to show you guys what they kind of both look like and comparisons about them and this one. But yeah, I really like the size so far. Obviously, it's just as sturdy as it was before. It is a little bit heavier and a little harder to carry around, but it's still doable. So either way, I think people are going to be pleasantly happy with the 32-inch, and it seems like I'm right because, a lot of people are having fun with it. I've seen on the Facebook group that a lot of people are having fun with their 32 inches, and I think that should be fun. So I'm going to leave you guys with this at the end of the stream. I know that this isn't that long of a stream, but I just wanted to get on here. First of all, this being, do you know the USB ports are for? The USB ports, as far as what they've said so far, are just for charging cell phones. That's their immediate use. That's like just to charge devices while you're sitting at the table was their immediate thing. But they did say that they are put in there for future-proof things because they may come out with other things to attach to them. They haven't told me, even if I wanted to tell you, they haven't told me either way what their actual plans are for that in the future, just that they're there for future-proofing for possible things that they want to do. But their main use case right now is just to charge phones. But yeah, this was just a short stream to give you guys a quick comparison. Like I said, I'll dive into a full review next week and give you guys that. But I will leave you guys with another teaser. Hopefully, Simon is not the only one that's going to come out this month. They're hoping to also come out with Hungry Hippos, which I do have on the table. However, obviously, I can't show you any gameplay because they're still trying to fix bugs and fix the experience and stuff. So there's some good stuff. There's some good stuff coming to the table. I have high hopes for this thing, but obviously, it's going to depend on the content of this thing. If they come out with a couple of games a month, I think in my opinion, if they come out with like somewhere between 2 to 5 games per month on a consistent basis, I think this table will be a hit, especially if they're games that everyone wants to play. But they can't go and, this comes out like in September or October, and then they stop releasing games for it, and they only come out with a game once every 6 months. Then that's going to make people turn their tables off and not care to check anymore. So hopefully, and from what I heard, their plans are to add games consistently. And if they do that, I think this thing's going to be really successful. I know the price is high, and I know it's not for everyone, but I think it's got a high future. And here's a quick look now that the 32-inch decided to put the graphics on the screen. I don't know how easy that is to tell, but just a close-up picture there. I mean, I think the 32-inch looks really good as far as the graphics that we were talking about and how clear it is and how good it looks. I mean, based on my opinion anyway, nothing stuck out that said, oh, this is not high enough resolution. But either way, look forward to Hungry Hippos, hopefully coming out this month as well. That is what their hopes are. Simon's pretty much a lock for this month from what I was told. Hungry Hippos is still, they're hoping to get it out this month, which is why I'm not showing it off yet. Maybe I'll be able to show it off later in the month if it gets a little bit more confirmed. And they definitely have other games releasing after that. Obviously, we saw the Game of Life coming in July. So they have some good stuff, and hopefully they keep going in that direction. But we'll see how it goes. Only time will tell how good that will come. So thank you guys, everyone, for joining this stream here. This is my first stream of this kind. So it's a good thing it went pretty well because this is the first time I'm using this platform to stream. I usually don't do a lot of live streaming, but I think I'm going to start doing more live stream. I think it's fun, and I think it's also interesting one day to bring other creators in here and think about and talk about ideas with them, talk about what they think about products. So this is fun. So I'll probably be doing more of these in the future, but it looks like things went well today, so that's good to see. So if there is no other questions in the chat that anybody has here in the next minute, we will be ending the stream for today. A lot of good stuff that I'll be coming out with next week, and look forward to the full review on this thing and more videos on the Infinity game table and more videos on another board game table that I have over there sitting on the left of me. And there's exciting competition in this category in space right now. That's for sure. There's a lot of competition because you got the Arcade1up sitting right here, and then you got the with their two versions. Then you got another one over there that I'll talk about in a later video and a later stream, maybe, if you guys want to see that and compare them both side by side. Then there's the Square One table that is out there that is not out yet, but I believe it was on Indiegogo and stuff, that's coming out later this year. There's another one out there, and they all have their own takes. They all have their own unique ideas. Like the board game table that I have over there from another company is going in a different direction than what the Infinity game table is doing. So as somebody who loves board games and loves technology, it's interesting to have both, to compare both. So yeah, I think that's it. I don't see any other questions in the chat, guys. So again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining my first live stream in a long time. And also we'll be doing more of these consistently if people like them, for sure. So thank you guys for coming on, and thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.